If my math is correct, I'd like to welcome everybody to the 58th episode of Wayne's World and Kelly. People wonder where I got the and Kelly. Ken Ryder, our guest today, is the one who actually used to always go, Kelly. So you inspired our name, Ken. I just wanted you to know that. But welcome to the show, Ken.
Thank you, guys. Great to be here.
Yeah. So I'm going to start off with a quick little my introduction of Ken Ryder and how I know him. I'm trying to remember when was the first time I met you. We grew up in the same town. Ken's maybe 2 years older than me. I know at one point I was lifeguarding over at Butch and Ginger and Mike Rogers' pool over in Coverstone.
Yep.
And I'm a lifeguard, right? And Ken Ryder comes walking in, and I'm like, and he's got like a resting bitch face, right? I mean, look, he's not smiling. And I'm like, I'm looking at the other two lifeguards, like going, if this guy causes any problem, I'm over the fence. So, but no, seriously, he came in and he's like, this guy is like, he's always been like this Adonis, right? But can be somewhat intimidating. One of the nicest people on the planet Fitness, and also an owner of Planet Fitness. But then for years I've known Ken pretty well, and I've watched him do business, and he's attacked a lot of stuff, and he's got quite a business story. So I want to share that. But before we say anything else, I just want to say I know some other people, I won't mention their name because Ken knows them too, that went from working extremely hard. And of course, everyone's like, oh, Ken's the man. Ken grinded it out for years to get where he is. And he'll talk about that. I know some other people that they grinded it out and then they turned into beep people, holes. I mean, it's changed their personality. All of a sudden they became very arrogant and obnoxious and unapproachable and all those other things that aren't what I'd call fine qualities in a successful person. Ken, and a lot of people say this, but I use him as an example all the time. The guy hasn't changed a bit. I mean, he has lost a few pounds as he's, not in the powerlifting world today.
Also
but otherwise, and there's a little bit more. And then there's one other thing I got to mention. His father is not Nick Nolte. So, so Ken, I did a very, very cursory description of your life. In your own words, what was it like to grind to get where you are today? And tell us a little bit about Planet Fitness and your story there.
Well, first, Kelly, thank you for the kind words. It's very, very nice of you to say. As you probably remember, I had opened my first gym in 1992. Go back a little bit further. I started out, I was a competitive lifter and really into the fitness thing. And so I worked as a personal trainer at the Manassas Racket Club in 1982. That's how I really got my start in fitness.
Hey, Dave Rhodes.
Yeah. Yep. And always had a dream to have my own gym. And finally in 1992, that dream came true. And I opened that gym. And basically just, didn't know anything about it. Just went to work, and became a student of the fitness business. I subscribed to back then we had trade publications and there was no online and none of that stuff. So I literally would go to the public library and sit there for hours and just read about business and how to write a business plan and all that stuff. And just became a student, went to every conference, every, trade, convention, anything I could get to, and just became a student of the business. So fast forward now, let's go to 1998. We were starting to kind of click. I mean, the business was doing really well. And then in 1999, in the city of Manassas, Prince William County and George Mason University did a joint venture, and they built an $18 million facility right down the street from us called the Freedom Center. Kelly, you know what that is.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah, the Freedom Center was basically built with our tax dollars. And they went into all the major corporations and offered these ridiculous deals, like $99 a year for their whole family. And I lost 1/3 of my membership in 1 year. So we went from making pretty good money, doing pretty well, to just hemorrhaging members and bleeding money. So it was a bit of a trying time. But anyways, we put our heads down and we went to work and figured out a way to get it back to profitability, and then finally sold that business. And anyways, I don't know if we can take a pause here, and that give
Well,
you a
I
little
want to
bit
take a quick pause because I don't know if we've ever talked about that.
Yeah.
Maybe we did. It's been a long time, but I remember thinking how wrong it was that they were using taxpayer dollars for that facility.
Right.
And I'm glad you brought it up because it really, it shows the effect of it. I mean, I never felt that they had the right to do that, and no, I'm just glad you put that out there because it's people need to understand that when the government gets involved with stuff, it really affects things.
Well, I'll tell you, most of the local gyms went out during that time. Most of them filled up, and it was a pretty scary time.
Yeah,
but we made through it. Sorry, my text messages are coming in. Sorry.
no problem. But no, I keep going. Your story's great, and talk about how Planet Fitness rolled into your world.
Okay, so
Story.
So basically, we kind of figured out a way through that. We started thinking, okay, so what can we do unique that the Freedom Center can't do? And one of the things that we always knew was that about 80% of the people who joined health clubs wanted to lose weight, and that's one of their big focus. So we said, okay, how about if we put a weight loss center in with our gym? And we came up with this idea of putting a separate entrance, so it didn't even look like the gym, but there was a back entrance from the weight loss center. Once you would sell them on the weight loss program, you say, hey, this gym membership is part of that. Well, that turned out to be a good idea. And so the weight loss center started really doing well, which brought the gym back to profitability. So in 2004, I was approached by the guys that were opening the World Gym in Gainesville, Virginia, about buying my World Gym. And I said, okay, but I want to keep the weight loss center. So that's basically what we did. We sold the gym. We kept the weight loss center, and we started doing that for a while. And so the weight loss centers were doing extremely well. We wound up buying this house in Haymarket in the Piedmont subdivision, and which was probably a lot more than we should have bought at the time. But almost on cue, the weight loss center started to tank. And it was kind of the industry was going through a lot of changes, and it was a franchise. And anyways, so I literally was lost. I was like, all right, I thought we had we cracked the code here. Now we're back for one. And I don't know if we're allowed to talk about this, but I literally I was out of answers, had no answers, and just dropped to my knees and prayed. I said, Lord, if you have something for me, please open my eyes, reveal it. Let me see it. Just let me see it.
We encourage that on here.
And so this was in July of 2006, September of 2006. I'm visiting my friend down in Florida. He said, man, this new Planet Fitness just opened up. I can't figure out how they make money. It's $10 a month. How does it? I was like, I don't know. Let's go look at it. We drive down. The owner happened to be there that day. And he explained the concept. And within 5 minutes, it was like a bolt of lightning.
Right.
I was like, and I almost felt the presence of God saying, okay, you ask, let you see it. Do you see this? Like, yeah, I see it. So anyways, Sharee, I went back to Sharee. I said, Sharee, we're going to go back in the gym business. And at the time, she wasn't that thrilled about that idea. Well, yeah. So we had a friend of ours that lived in Connecticut he was some of the most successful world gyms in the country. He had converted all his world gyms to Planet Fitness. And so I called my friend Joe and I said, hey, tell me about this Planet Fitness. He said, man, you need to do it. We flew up to Connecticut, went through all his gyms, and he showed us his numbers, and he said, do whatever you got to do this thing. So Sharee and I basically cashed in everything we had, took all the equity out of the house, which in 2006 we had equity.
Right.
Fast forward another year, there were no equity, if you remember what happened then.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, it was basically, we're 45 years old, and it was just all of our chips on, and we just went to work. And it's funny because people talk about the recession of 2008 and 9 and everything. We don't really remember it because we were just working. We were just working. Yeah. So people remember this, remember that. It's like, no, I really don't remember that because we just were working.
I remember.
So Ken, about so many questions for you, man. Such little time. Kelly touched on your work experiences in the beginning when you talked about how you grind it out. And now as you tell your story, there's the inevitable turbulence that comes with being an entrepreneur. I want to rewind real briefly. My story of when I segued from corporate America into sales is I didn't have any money. I went to the library. I read motivational books, got some Tony Robbins tapes when I was able to scrape some money together. I'd go to a couple seminars. But every time I would shut the book, get out of the seminar, like a day later, it all disappeared. And I guess one thing I've learned is that, motivation is a fire from within. And if someone else tries to light that fire under you, chances are that it will burn very briefly.
Yep.
Comment on that and what that means to you. It doesn't sound like you even had a whole hell of a lot of time to even go to a seminar. I mean, you just grinded it out.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I did go to every seminar. In fact, I was a big Tony Robbins fan.
Well, right.
Yeah.
It works.
Yeah.
It stops.
But if you look at, and I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Michael Gerber, but Michael Gerber wrote a book called The E-Myth, and actually
love that book, E-Myth Revisited.
E-Myth Revisited, right?
Okay.
And it kind of all ties in. So he calls it your primary aim. Tony Robbins, your personal mission statement. Basically you got to come up with your why.
Yep, you do.
Why are you doing this, right? And because motivation, yeah, you're right. It's it's kind of a flash in the pan, but it's got to be deeper. It's got to be in here.
It does.
What drives you to get up every day?
Every day.
And I think that's the one thing that I liked about what Michael Gerber talked about was your personal mission statement. I actually went through their training. There was a 3-year mastery program. I think I went through 18 months of it or whatever, but the very first thing they do is primary aim. I wanted to learn about business. And they're like, no. We're not going to talk about that yet. We're going to talk about your personal primary aim. What makes you tick? Why are you getting up every morning? And I would write this thing out, this eloquent statement. And she would look at it and say, nope, that's not it. Like, what do you mean? It's mine. What do you mean it's not? Like, nope, that's not it. You got to get deeper. And one of the big questions that they ask, because always think about, this is what I want. I want this. I want that. The first question is, what don't you want in your life? And I think it's a very compelling question, because you think about, hey, I want a whatever career. I'm in this career, and all of a sudden you find yourself so focused on the goal that your life gets so crowded with a bunch of crap that you don't want.
Right.
But you got sucked into the vortex, and there you are chasing this dream, but yet you're loaded down with a bunch of stuff in your life that you don't want.
Yep.
And it happens to a lot of people. It's happened to me. It's happened to all of us. But you see the people that, and the one, I started making a list of things that I don't want. One thing I didn't want to do is sit on 66 in traffic every day. Like I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. But there was a whole list of things. I didn't want gazillions of dollars, but what I didn't want was financial pain and pressure. I didn't want stress. And I said, okay, that's a big thing for me. So for something to say, okay, well, you could do this and make gazillions of dollars. I don't care about gazillions of dollars. What I want is financial peace. What I want is, I don't want somebody telling me where I can go and when I can take vacation and all that. So I got very clear about what I didn't want in my life. Then you start to work on, okay, now with those guidelines, what do you want? And it's not an easy or quick process. I think you have to really do a lot of soul searching, and you have to kind of make sure what are the things that matter to you? Our faith is a big thing. Is this something that's consistent with my faith? So anyways, I could go on forever about that.
That's good stuff. Speaking of good stuff, also early on in my life at Sudley Club, I remember you being up on stage. And I think even back then y'all were called Easy Street.
We were Easy Street. Yep.
And that was cool, man. Live band at Sudley Club.
If you remember, that was kind of people were, when they said that I was starting a band, they're like, who? A band? What is that?
Oh, it was great. And then that went on for a long time. And you were very generous over at CASA, Court Appointed Special Advocate for Abused Kids.
Yeah, great organization.
Not only did you give your treasure and your time, you also provided music at some of the events that we did every year, which was really, really cool. And, and that was always very well appreciated. But then you started One Hot Mess.
Yep.
Which it's several guys, and usually when we think of One Hot Mess, we think of, possibly the X chromosome, but it's a great name for a band. But holy smokes, you guys just pile it in now. It's insane.
We've got a great group of guys. I'm really, really fortunate. I've got some really seasoned musicians that I get to play with, and so I get to kind of just ride on their coattails. It's nice.
Yeah, really right. I get. Oh, is that a pun from Ryder?
Right. Yeah.
Your sister Winona has had quite a career, but has she ever gotten past the shoplifting story?
My brother Easy too. Yeah.
Right. Oh man, we should do a shout out to my friend John Marks. His nickname is Skid.
Oh my God. So Ken,
sorry guys.
My son will definitely want to know the answer to this question. He's a workout freak. He's in incredible shape, and his passion is working out. And someday, post college, he's got 3 more years to go. He would like to parlay that into a lifestyle and owning a gym. How about some free advice for my 19-year-old who could definitely use it from a fitness kingpin like yourself, brother?
Well, I can tell you, probably the best advice I can give anybody is just be a student. Just learn everything. Never stop learning. Just read everything. And honestly, I'll give you my number. He can reach out to me anytime, if I can offer any help at all. But yeah, I just be a student. Talk to anybody in the business. Look, read everything. Go and visit gyms. Go and
yep. He loves doing that. He does.
What are they doing well? What are they not doing so well? What could I do better? Is there a niche out there that maybe nobody's serving? Just constantly be just learning and thinking about that stuff.
Yeah, the cool thing is Planet Fitness isn't for everybody, but they got a model that's very successful.
Yeah.
But and I know you were like one thing I remember several years ago after I think you owned 2 or 3 of them, we were talking, and you started talking about other gyms that were really good.
Yeah.
I'm like going, when I worked for IBM, buddy, is either only IBM computers and nothing else. I've always kind of been that way. I'm still that way with LGC, your best owners rep in South Florida. But I will say that maybe Ken taught me a little bit, because I will tell our clients or our potential clients, hey, there's some other good companies out there. This is their names. These are their contacts. Reach out to them, and we can do a competitive bid to decide who's going to do your project. Ken was saying, Planet Fitness is designed for this type of customer, and then there's other ones that are designed for other people. Like the big power lifter is not going to go to Planet Fitness.
No.
But that's why I am a member of Planet Fitness, because I'm not a big power lifter.
For me, I can tell you the thing that I fell in love with Planet Fitness, they identified 3 of the major reasons why people weren't joining gyms. The number one reason that people don't join gyms is because it's an intimidating environment. They feel like I got to get in shape before I can go to the gym.
Right.
So Planet Fitness identified that, and they created what they call the judgment-free zone. And so they made a very non-threatening, non-intimidating environment. The number 2 thing that people didn't like was the price, because and it didn't hit me until several years ago when I moved into the Piedmont subdivision, and they were trying to get me to join the golf membership. And at that time, it was like $360 a month. Well, I wasn't playing a lot of golf back then. And I thought, man, $360 a month, even though it's unlimited golf, this is too much per round. It's like, shoot, I might play twice a month. That's $180 a round. I'm not doing that. So you have to justify how often you're going to use it. Well, if an average person that is not in a fitness lifestyle, they go to the gym and the gym is $75 a month, they're like, oh man, I can't really justify that. I may or may not use it. At $10 a month, like even if I don't use it, it's no big deal, right? And the third thing was a long-term commitment. Most gyms want you to sign up for 2 years or 3 years. Planet Fitness is no, we're going to provide this environment. It's $10 a month and cancel anytime you want. It's month by month.
Yeah.
And I mean, so they just identified 3 of the main reasons why people did not join gyms and eliminated those things.
They also provide great hours and is clean 24/7.
Yeah.
which is a huge deal.
I tell you, for our group in the Virginia Beach, Norfolk area, our two main things: cleanliness and friendliness. I mean,
right.
Keep clean, be friendly, treat people right.
Right. Yeah. And then there's actually a guy and his wife that I knew in Manassas that belonged to the one on Sudley or off Sudley Road. They joined for the pizza. This guy was an odd bird. He's a school teacher in Manassas. I always thought the guy was kind of weird. And if he's watching, dude, you're weird. I never ate the pizza there.
No names.
Kind of, no names. But I think the pizza thing's nice, but I'm there not to eat the pizza. That's sort of like my motivation not to eat pizza at least that one time a month.
Right.
I want to do it in front of people. I'm gonna do it in my backyard, my house where people can't see me eating it. But this guy joined because they could come in and get the pizza and whether there was donuts once a month.
Yeah, bagels. So it was pizza Mondays and bagels. So it was like the first Monday of every month was free pizza, and I think the first second Tuesday or whatever was bagels. Yeah. So
this guy would drag his wife in and force her to,
So another cool thing that we learned when we got into Planet Fitness with the pizza thing, I thought this was kind of interesting. They really encouraged you not to go to one of the national chains. Like they wanted you to work with the local community. Excuse me. But yeah, so that if you could find a local pizza shop and try to keep it local in every community, I thought that was kind of a cool thing.
Who do you think has the best pizza in Manassas, Haymarket, Centerville area?
There's a couple that I like. Mamma Mia's. I like Giuseppe's Pizza, and Tony's.
Oh, yeah, you had to mention Tony's.
Yeah.
When I came up and saw you, Mr. Orndorff Sr., Greg Sr. passed away, and I was up there, right. And I saw you guys perform in front of over 1,000 people, which was incredible. We went over to Tony's Pizza. There was a few check marks I had to do while I was there.
Yeah,
I had to go to Tony's Pizza.
So, Tony's is good, and like I said, the best. I don't know. It's so subjective, but
it's arbitrary.
But those are three really good ones. I'm sure there are others, but those are three that I really like.
Do you ever have the honey mustard dressing at Mamma Mia's?
I'm not a big honey mustard fan, so I'm not a good person to ask.
Let's just cut everybody out of here. No, I swear they make the best chicken salad with honey mustard dressing.
Yeah, Mamma Mia's, they're great. I mean, Sammy and those guys have been wonderful.
Yeah, they really are they're wonderful people. And I don't know if I've ever eaten their pizza. I eat their salad. I almost went by and got their salad, but it's huge. But I've totally run off the tracks here. I apologize.
So Wayne, what other questions do you have?
Wayne, be more. We never.
I guess. Probably just going back to kind of mission and purpose. What point in your life did you realize that you wanted to make a living off probably what I'm going to assume is a pretty big passion of yours? We'll take us back to the very beginning with the couple minutes we have left.
Well, as you mentioned, fitness absolutely changed my life. Growing up, I was an okay athlete. I played baseball and football, but I was never like an outstanding athlete. About the only thing that I got really good with was bowling. I was a pretty good bowler. But then I played football in high school, but like I said, I was just okay. But I started lifting my sophomore year in high school, and man, the minute I started lifting weights, it was like a fish jumping in a pond. I knew I was in the right place and had some natural ability for it. And so by the time I started lifting weights in March of my sophomore year, when I went back to school for my junior year, a lot of people didn't even recognize me. I had grown so much, and these muscles started popping out. I'm like, man, this is cool. But just lifting heavy weights was just fun for me. And I know a lot of people think, how can you enjoy having heavy weights on your back? I don't know. There was a passion.
It's the best. Yeah.
But I'll tell you that the self-confidence, just the life lessons you learn, with working out, it's like, you know what, you can't take shortcuts. You've got to put the work in, and, nobody can do it for you, and nobody's going to hand it to you. And in addition to that, it's not just hard work, because I have a lot of friends of mine that have worked really, really hard and have stayed injured. And that goes back to being a student of it. you have to learn recovery is just as important as the training. And you have to learn how to recover. And this is something they've gotten really good at, very sophisticated at, even with like the NFL players and lifters. They are really driven by the recovery process. You see these guys taking these ice baths and all this stuff. I mean, nobody did that back, 30, 40 years ago.
Yeah. I mean, next year, I will have been in a gym for 40 years.
Yep.
I mean, I can't believe it. 40 years. And vacations are planned around whether or not where we're going to go has got a place to work out. If not, when am I going to get back to start the routine? The fascinating thing about for me is it's been the mind-body connection coupled with you can literally take your body and change it and make it the way you want it. That's what I got hooked on. Obviously, I'm a smaller framed guy. I was never able to throw up the big iron like you. But the one thing I could do is I could change my appearance, and I could do it all the time. But to your point, no one's going to do it for you. And like being in a gym, to me, I call it kind of the great equalizer. It doesn't care. People don't care what you look like. People don't care. They just like to be around people that are trying to get better. I'll just leave it at that, right? And that's what I love about it to this day. Everybody's in there for one thing. They're trying to get better.
And I feel, to that point, I feel incredibly blessed to have spent my career in a positive environment like that. When
dude.
You're in the gym every day, I mean, there are people in there that are trying to get better.
Yes.
They're not in an office griping and complaining. And it really, I think the people that have worked for us over the years will tell you the same thing. It was just a positive environment to be in.
Don't you have to admit that it was you were doing it at the right time? Because back when you were competitively lifting, you didn't have women trying to come into your league and beat you.
Well, yeah, that's a whole different topic.
Yeah, that is. Anyway.
But I'll tell you, you had mentioned something about being a lifestyle, because I think that's the mistake that a lot of people make is I'm going to go on a diet, or I'm going to, hit a couple of workouts and expect these, no, it's got to be a lifestyle. You got to do it
long, brother.
Day after day, week after week, year after year. My wife is a great example. Kelly knows her. I mean, she's, 63 years old. She doesn't mind me telling you that, but she looks amazing, but she lives it every single day. It's what she eats every day. She works out every day. And it's just, and people are like, well, you're just lucky. You have a great metabolism. Yeah, that's
right. You have great genetics. If people knew what it takes to look like that, I think there would be a lot more respect, because how often do you hear, oh, you're just blessed with a high metabolism rate, or you have great genetics, or this, that, or the other thing, you're kind of gracious. Yeah. Okay, I'm fortunate on that. They have no idea, zero idea. Only the people that are watching this and have this as a lifestyle really appreciate it.
And you just have, it's got to be week after week after week after year after year after year. And you just got to commit to it. This is part of me now. This is part of my life.
Yep. Absolutely. I just want to tell you, man, thank you for sharing your gifts with everybody. I know I'll let Kelly wrap this up, but man, I really appreciate you and everything that you do for the people like us that need what you provide, brother. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, man. It's been a real pleasure. I mean, hopefully there's something of value in here. I don't know. So.
Oh, there is. Trust me.
Great. And I just don't want to brush over this. Sharee truly is one of the most beautiful women on the planet, inside and out. And I mean, she is just absolutely stunning. But you're right. I would see her at Planet Fitness in Manassas back when I lived up there, and she's out there and she was grinding out. But she is Ken has earned the great life that he has, because he has grinded it out. And also behind every successful man is a wonderful, successful woman, and she has been supportive of him, at least in public. I don't know what happens at home. But
no, I can tell you, and a lot of people, I get a lot of the credit for our bit. Trust me, she and I work shoulder to shoulder. It was a partnership all the way. I mean, so yeah, she has a whole lot of strengths that I don't have.
Right.
And it's my mom used to. I loved my mom. She was one of the funniest, greatest people on the planet, and I was blessed to have her as my mom. But every once in a while, she'd say something like, "Well, she was married for 59 years, and she said, who has a great marriage?" Ken and Sharee have been a great example of this amazing couple that have been married forever. And there's a lot of other couples out there, but she used to always go, well, mention names. And I'd say, when she said, well, they're just kids, because at the time she'd say, y'all were probably 40, so y'all were just babies. But no, you got.
That goes back to what we talked about. It's the effort that doesn't happen in a vacuum, man.
Right. And, sure. And it's easy now. You've got all the success and no money pressures, and y'all are traveling all over the world on private jets. And he really does live a rock star life. It's really cool to watch on Facebook. He's that Facebook life you want to have. But those two grinded it out for decades to get where they are today. And it's inspirational. And I'm honored to call you friend and know that you've done such a great job and stayed a great couple the entire time. I was always afraid she was going to dump you and get 2 30-year-olds.
Right.
And which is probably
a smart move.
But keep living your wonderful life and keep inspiring others, Ken. It's great to have you on. I know you have a life of leisure now, so it wasn't hard to carve out the 25 minutes. But
hey, I have a 10:50 tea time, man.
So what do you days?
I'm gonna wrap it up.
What are you shooting these days?
Oh, I first of all, I was the worst golfer on earth when I started. I was like a 22 handicap, but I'm down to like a 16 now. So I'm getting better. I'm improving. And it's just, so I don't think I have any really natural ability for the game, but I'm just putting the work in.
Sometimes it's hard when you're so big. And I want to see how far we never played golf together, which is kind of
we have to do that. Yeah.
So next time you're down in your Naples area, I'll come across the freaking Alligator Alley to smack ball.
Make it happen, man. Yeah, let's do it.
So
actually, we get over to the East Coast quite a bit too. So Sharee loves Delray.
Yeah, and we got some great golf courses. Yeah, we can play Boca. We can see if Adam Sandler can be our fourth.
There you go.
We'll get Ben to set it up.
I ran into Adam Sandler at the cigar bar in New York City a couple of years ago.
Okay, we're going to go an extra minute. How was that? Was he? Everybody has a great experience with him.
He was exactly like he is in the movies. I mean, he was the coolest, most down to earth guy. It was very cool.
Cool.
Somebody told me a story recently when they met him, and I can't even remember what the darn line was, but he said something that was just classic Adam Sandler, and they're like, "Wow, this guy's 24/7 a good dude." So
I mean, our experience, he was fantastic. So
yeah. Yeah, cigars aren't good for you. Kids, don't smoke cigars.
No, you shouldn't do that.
Yeah. Have a fun time golfing. We appreciate you, brother. And
thank you, guys.
We didn't cover.
Wayne, great to meet you. Hey, get my cell phone number from Kelly. Yeah, reach out anytime.
I will do so, and I appreciate you, Ken. Thanks again, and we'll see you probably sometime again, sir.
Okay, guys, take care.
Keep in the fairway, bro.
All right.
Thanks. Bye.
It won't leave. I can't leave. I can't get it to go.